Welcome to Sales Bites by Journey, where we talk about everything you need to know to be a killer at sales. I'm your host, Will Jenkins. Let's get it. Hello. Welcome to Sales Bites by Journey. My name is Will Jenkins, your host. Today we have Jeff Parisi, VP of Sales at Revenova. Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Will. I always enjoy seeing you.
Same, man. I look forward to the conferences, stopping by the booth all the time. It's always good to see you and the team. So thank you for being here. I want to do just a 10,000 foot overview on Revenova. I'm super familiar with you and the team. I've learned a lot about the product. I've been a customer before. But tell us about the business and what y'all do.
Yeah, so our tagline is CRM-powered transportation management. So we thought that was lacking when we started our business, that they were two separate kind of entities that customers use, the CRM and then a TMS. So we wanted to combine the two. And CRM also in the brokerage world means managing your customers. But if you were to talk to a broker, they would probably tell you that managing their carrier relationships is as or more important than their customers. So brokers have a unique CRM need around managing both of them. And all, by the way, doing that on a multimodal platform. So instead of having your truckload and LTL and drayage and people in all these different systems and trying to wire data in and integrate to your accounting system, we literally have customers that do their CRM, multimodal TMS and accounting on one platform, one set of reports, no integrations, data real time. So that's always been our vision for our company. Is to stack as many modes as we can into our TMS to drive more value for, bigger, more complex organizations.
That's awesome. Well, it's interesting to talk about the multimodal aspect of Revenova. As a customer, I was able to see what you all did, the different things you rolled out, the complexities of the product. And so as we attack this topic right now, sales as a startup versus sales as a developed org, you've lived through that twice as a founding member of an organization building from zero. So let's talk a little bit about those things because it only becomes more complex as the organization gets larger. So tell me a little bit about what that looks like, sales at a startup versus a developed org.
Yeah, sales as a startup when you have $0 of sales is much different than what my sales are now. It's basically the vision you have for your company. You have to find somebody that has kind of a similar vision of what a TMS could be. And then they have to trust that you're the company that can kind of pull that off. So it becomes more of we're not really selling a product, we're selling a vision. And, here's kind of what we have and here's where we're going and here's why we're going to, get better. You in the early accounts, account number 1, 2, 3, 4, we're working with Dave Craigmile, me, and Mike Horvath. And we spent all our time working with them, understanding, as they're using our product, how can we make it better? How can we make it better? How can we make it better? Very collaborative. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're a startup, your early customers can't just be happy. They have to be overjoyed happy. You can't kind of come into the marketplace with a product that is like everybody else. So you have to, they have to be overjoyed. So then they tell somebody else, and then somebody else takes a chance with you. And then, they're working with Dave Craigmile, our CTO, and Mike Horvath, our visionary, and myself, and we're configuring everything. So, that's probably, the first 12 to 15 customers you have. It's just high touch points, constant communication. What can we do better? Even, when we brought you guys on, it was, what can we do to improve? I mean, we were in your office every other week. Will, give us an idea. How can we do this better? How can we do this better? Let's brainstorm. It's Mike would create a prototype and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Is this what you're? So it's in the early days, it's very, collaborative, and you just, we still have a lot of those customers, and, they probably don't talk to Mike or Dave as much anymore. Yeah. But, those early days, we were on them all the time, trying to get better and better.
Totally. Something that you mentioned that I think is important, and I've learned a lot about this building startups and being in at the ground level, being able to sell a vision versus being able to sell a product, that takes two different types of people. There are people who are better equipped to sell a long-term vision because that's the way their brain works. They can work in the gray a little bit better. It's a little ambiguous, but you've got to be comfortable with the gray. Some people have to have a defined SOP, really clear products. And I'm not saying one's better than the other, but if you're going to sell at a startup or be someone that builds a startup, you've got to be okay with the gray, because what you're selling the product as today and what it's going to be 6, 9, 12 months from now, it's going to change. And if you're uncomfortable with that,
I actually wish, and I got to talk to Dave Craig. I wonder if we have version 1.0 somewhere in a managed package. Wow. I'd love to see what it looks like. You wouldn't even recognize it. 10 years, we've gone through 40 upgrades. It's insane, just the rapid development and growth that we go through.
But just think about what the product is today and what you're able to offer customers. And that's the vision that you were selling people in 2014. And they're like, all right, cool. Like, let's figure this thing out.
Yeah, you look back and some of our early customers, of course, we love them. And, we talk to them and see them all the time. But they really took a chance. It's, part of it. The advantage we have is we had a big brother Salesforce. People knew about Salesforce, and they may have used them CRM, and they're like, wow. And we used to get a lot of this early on. I can't believe no one else has thought about this. This is such a good idea. I can't believe no one else built a TMS on sales. This is such a no-brainer. And they were like, yeah, totally makes sense. Let's do this. And, it's just, so I think this, obviously the sell, and today, of course, the biggest selling point is Salesforce. But back then, I think that gave a level of comfort. It would be different if we started our own business and we were hosting, and it was the Revenova cloud, and we had our own servers, and we did all the maintenance and backup. And, that would have been much more difficult. Salesforce gave us a lot of runway and allowed people to be like, hey, this is okay. Yeah, I'm not worried about our data.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, man. Being able to build that trust early on as a startup is important. So let's segue to that. Let's just use, obviously we've got the Salesforce connection, so that's a constant, but what other things do you do or did you have to do in your sales process to build trust with clients early on that may have been, on the fence? I don't really know if I want to give this new startup a chance.
Yeah, it's... when it's early on, it's all about trust. How do you do that? At the end of the day, it's the vision, it's understanding. Again, nothing's changed in the sales cycle. You still want to understand, what are they trying to solve? Why are you there? I'm curious of why should you be buying me? Why are you taking the chance with me? So knowing that, hey, I can do 80% of what you want to do, and I'm not there yet, and I'm just open. You want to be open, but we have release cycles, and we're going to get there, and you can be part of this team to help develop this for us. That's much more. It's better than going to some other system maybe, and paying more money at the time to do that when you can. So there was some probably arm twisting of we promised some functionality and features. That we probably had laid on Dave Craigmile to develop. But
you got to sell the dream, man. That's part of the process. I think another thing that's interesting and helpful as a startup, being on my second round, building a business and building from the ground zero, the flexibility piece, I think, is a huge sales piece that you can use to help people feel comfortable with what you're doing. So it's important for them to know that they've got your ear. If they're the first couple of people that you're working with, they're going to be able to give you input at you, as you mentioned, and they need to be overjoyed about what they get, but they need to know that they matter. And that helps to engender that trust for them to go, okay, well, yeah, we may be one of the first handful of users, but I know that you have my back and that everything that we're, giving to you is important because you're still a new org. So it's actually imperative that you figure out a way to make this work.
Right. Yeah. Same thing, whether it's your business, my business, another business that's starting up tomorrow, it's the same challenges. Do I trust you? Do you have the vision that I have? Hopefully they meet.
Totally. So now you're a developed organization, have gone through another successful exit, or, have had an organization invest a fair amount of money in Revenova to help you get to the next level. What's it like selling in year 10 that's different than selling in year 1 and 2?
Yeah, it's the good news is that we kind of have the same sales mentality. I want our customers to be overjoyed with us. So we sell good deals, ethical deals. We say what we're going to do, we do what we're going to say. I want to be thought of as, again, as a partner. We do annual subscriptions, so they could fire us in a year. So we don't have anybody not renew year over year. So so the challenge there again, the process is similar, where you want to go in, understand their needs, their business, be a trusted partner. And one of the things we'll do that they may even say, hey, we're ready to sign. We'll say, wait a minute, we're reviewing the statement of work with our team. We're going to make sure we're all on the same page, that there's no questions. And we go through everything and make sure we're all on the same page, because I want to make sure that they're not only a happy customer, but ecstatic. I want them referenceable. I want them doing marketing for us. I want them saying good things about us. But more importantly, I want them to grow or provide for their employees. I kind of think like my TMS is helping them pay employees who's putting their kids through school, putting food on their table, allowing them to have a life. So I feel like responsible to make sure that happens. I want to make sure that, the decisions they make, this is the biggest decision they make.
It is.
And
I mean, there's no piece of tech in a brokerage more important than your TMS.
Right.
Hands down. No piece at all.
And if you don't make the right decision, then you're going to have problems, and it could be lower sales, turnover. God forbid it takes you out of business, but it could. And I want to be the one that helps them grow and helps them hire more people to support their families.
Totally. So one thing I noticed over time that helped is confidence. As you have been around longer, you've got that staying power. You've got more recommendations, right? Logos under your belt, things that y'all have done well. How have you seen that reflected in new sellers that come to Revenova and they see, oh, shoot, this is the real deal, right? Like, these people are serious, and look at the customers they've got under their belt.
Yeah, I mean, it's much different than when you started out. But we have over 40 integration partners now, and each integration partner is a lead source for us now. So, someone will say, hey, I'm looking for a new TMS. What do you recommend? And I always tell all our partners, be Switzerland. Just mention me. You should mention the others too. They're all good partners of yours. I'm not asking for anything. But we get included, and our record when we get at bats is pretty high. And it's the partners really are helping us as we grow. Our customers are big, and they're pretty influential. I think we have 5 or 6 or 7 Revenova customers on the TIA board now. They're out in Washington now. So the organization for brokers, their board members use Revenova. I mean, it's it kind of don't have to say much more. They're the experts, and they're using our product.
That's a pretty big flex, Jeff. That's a big one.
That's a big one. We've made them very happy. So it's great to see their growth. I mean, a lot of them, when they started out with us, were smaller in nature, but they were sophisticated, and they were doing really cool things, and they just got more and more involved, and now they're parts of the board. Did we have a small part of that? Yeah, of course, but it's their drive, their inner drive. They always had it in them, and it's great to see. It really makes me happy.
That's awesome. So as we get ready to wrap up here, I'm going to mention a couple notes that I took based on some of the things that you mentioned. So selling the vision for the company and selling that to someone that has a similar vision, those early customers, they buy into what you have to say. And so you have to be able to sell that long-term vision of what the org is growing to be. You're not just selling a product. You need to be very collaborative, listen to their feedback, make sure they're overjoyed, ecstatic about the product that you're providing, because they're taking a risk on you as a startup early on. and that there are going to be a lot of touch points, right? It's really important that they know that you're there, you're responsive, things of that nature. And then transitioning to a developed organization, still bringing that same intensity to the sales process, very detailed, wanting them to be overjoyed. To me, that's saying we're not getting complacent. Sure, we're a developed organization and we've been around, but we're doing things the right way, same way that we did early on. And then that confidence, kind of a big deal to have 40 integration partners, right? Kind of a big deal to be able to tell your sellers, look at all of the customers that rely on us as the heartbeat of that organization. So got to lean in on that as you're selling to new opportunities.
Yep, summarized it great.
Let's go. Anything to close with here as we wrap up sales as a startup versus sales as a developed org?
What's that?
Anything to add as we wrap up here, selling as a startup versus selling as a developed organization?
No, nothing jumps to my mind other than what we've talked about.
Beautiful. Well, I really appreciate you being here with us, Jeff. Thank you so much. It's always fun to spend time with you, man, and I look forward to seeing you at the next conference.
You bet. Well, look forward to talking soon.
Awesome. Thank you.